Andres Arce.
Good morning.
How are you?
Ready. Is about started? Almost. How do I pins?
Anyone have any AA batteries at the file?
Oh, batteries.
For what?
I tried myself.
What happened? You need some coffee?
Nah, I got it.
A long night?
Low-key, yeah.
I keep needles full of adrenaline with me, so you guys get it right.
You never know. You might need one.
Yeah. Might get shocked or something.
Anyone have any worse tranquilizers?
Or
You got extra?
I use it on a daily basis.
All right. I tell you what, let's just get started. Just to recap, guys, you know, obviously, guys, I want you to know it's a privilege, honor. It's always a blessing to be able to speak to the agency, especially I know a lot of my guys are on here. They hear me a lot, but always good to have everybody on here and always rep out the stuff that's really important, okay? You know, I want you guys to think about this too. You know, stay hungry, okay? I want you to think about this. The people that do really well are the people that stay hungry. People that are hungry They don't care about the odds. They don't care about the odds, right? They just stay hungry. They don't even care. They make it happen, right? They always think of reasons why to do something as well, as opposed to why not to do something. Okay, I see Tommy just entered the building. What's up, Tommy? Connecting with the Vina agency. We good? Ah, I see what he's doing. He's putting it on the big screen. My head just looks that much bigger on the big screen, so that's perfect. There we go. Am I on the big screen, ready to rock? Can you guys hear me good? Obviously you can see me. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Tommy. All right, guys. So like I said, guys, one thing I want you to understand in this business is we have to stay hungry. Like I was saying, the people that are hungry, they don't care about the odds. They don't care about the stats. They don't care the way they grew up. They don't give a crap about any of that stuff. They just have a do or die mentality. They don't look at success like it's an option either. They look at success like it's their duty, their obligation. They don't just wake up and say, hey, it'd be nice if I was successful today. It'd be nice if I wrote 2,000 today. It'd be great if we did something big today. They look at success like it's a freaking duty, or like protecting families is a duty, an obligation, something that has to get done. Okay, so I want you to kind of flip your mindset. Just to recap what we went over last time, we went over a lot of mindset. The proper mindset to have in this business. We went over the 5 Ps. Who knows what the 5 Ps are that we went over last time? Who can say it?
I can say it.
Let's hear it, dog.
All right. Proper planning prevents poor performance.
Unless you're Tommy, it's like 16 Ps. It's like proper planning prevents piss poor performance on a professional level. No, I'm just kidding. So the 5 Ps, good job, Javier. The third thing, the phone call, is what we went over, right? How to have control over the phone, how it transfers over the phone, and how we don't want to just be scripted, and how we want to build some sort of connectivity, build some sort of connection over the phone. That way we can go and have a good show ratio, right? We want to use solidification at the end we used, okay? The last thing we went over is how that transfers over into the sit, how it transfers over into the sit. So what we're going to be going over today is literally bits and pieces of each part of the presentation. We started out with the mental preparation, with your mental. We started out with the positivity, right? Then we went over to the phone call, right? Now we're getting them on Zoom, right? Now let's talk about when we get them on Zoom or when we're in person, okay? The fundamentals of sales have never changed, guys. I thought I had to switch up the pitch when we went virtual, but I realized I use the same exact pitch virtually. The only difference is I can't give them a high five, right? I can't physically, be there and give them a handshake. That's really the only difference, all right? People ask about the control over Zoom. Gio, it's probably harder to get control over Zoom. I think it's easier because you constantly have to say things like, can you hear me? All right, wait, real quick. Can you see me? Right? You're constantly adding to the fire. But I want to start with control, of course, then go into rapport, intro, no cost, terminal life, needs, showing option, and closing. I'm going to give you every little tip throughout. And then some. All right? And then some. So when it comes to control, guys, listen, this is the most important part of the pitch. When you don't ask that person for a glass of water, when you don't ask that person to go grab the quality control number if you're on Zoom. When you don't ask them to flip their phone to sideways, when you don't do those small things, they're going to take control of the conversation. You have to take the control. They need to understand that you're setting up the stage so that you can set it up to knock it down. You have to set it up. Some examples. If you're on the Zoom, first thing I say, I don't say, hey, Joe, how's it going? First thing I say is, hey, real quick, guys, can you hear me? Okay, perfect. Can you see me? All right, great. Now it's Joe and Mary, right? Okay, great. I tell you what, Joe and Mary, real quick, we've been running around like a chicken with our head cut off. I need you to grab that quality control, that confirmation number. I need to make sure that obviously we're going over the very important information with the right people. Instead of them thinking you're a scam, you're like, hey, shit, I got to make sure I'm going over the right information with the right people. This stuff is super important. I cannot miss here. Instead of them being like, who's this Geo guy? They're like, I'm trying to figure it. It's like a spin cell, right? Then what do? I give them a disclaimer on the Zoom. I got this from Steve Greer. I thought it was cheesy at first, but it works. As soon as I get on the Zoom, I give them a disclaimer. I say, all right, perfect, guys. Now we know it's you. Now, one thing I just have to tell you, for the last 70 years, we've always had to do this in person. But due to this whole pandemic, they made a transition to virtual. That way we can both see each other, but obviously keep each other protected and keep our kids safe. Now, I'll be honest with you, anytime I'm on Zoom, it's with my girlfriend and she's making fun of me because my head's popping off, or it's with my family. And I love my family, but never get them on the Zoom. You'll never be able to get them off the Zoom. All right. Now, have you guys used Zoom before? Okay. Start out with little simple conversation, because now you can start getting into rapport a little bit, but you have to maintain the control throughout. Now, before I go into rapport, ways to keep the control throughout is to say things like, can you still hear me, Joe? All right, Mary, you can still hear me, right? All right, perfect. Please stop me if you have any questions. We're going to be going over some very important information, okay? Right? That's how you keep it throughout. And then you also have to use at least 50 tie downs throughout the presentation. If you want to be at least a 50% closer or better, you have to use 50 tie downs throughout the presentation. What's a tie down? Tie down is like, does that make sense? And you get a verbal yes. If they say, I say, I'm sorry, what? Okay, great. Just need to make sure it makes sense. Dude, I'm literally like a pain in the ass. You know why? Because I don't feel like I'm being a pain in the ass. Because remember, our big motto is we serve, we don't sell. You got to get good with the sales process in order to serve our clients, right? So maintain that control throughout. If Mary gets up, what do I tell my trainees to do, right? They know. Mary gets up. Oh, did we lose Mary there? Oh, okay. I'll tell you what, we'll wait till she gets back. Now, Joe, you said you've been in the union for 10 years? Dude, I am not going through the pitch if Mary walks out for a second. And here's what we're doing. Mary walks out. Oh, no, I can hear you. She's over here. Yeah, no, Gio, I can hear you. I'm just making some food. And here's what we do. We get a little soft, right? And we say, oh, she can, we'll just let it go. If I do what they say, maybe they'll really like me and they'll just, we'll just get the sale. No, what's going to happen, you might sell them that day somehow, but people buy what they know, but they keep what they understand, guys. So, yeah, he made a decision at the end to buy. And she was like, yeah, that's fine. Let's just get that, right? As soon as that Zoom meeting's over, guess what happens? Why did we do that? Why was it so expensive? She's in his ear, and what happens? You get that same people call you the next day canceling. And you're like, dude, I did everything I was supposed to do, right? So you have to be super stern and pain in the ass when it comes to this stuff. Be a pain in the butt. Dude, I don't double tap, I triple tap people. I call them till they answer. I don't think it's unreasonable calling my lead pack 4 or 5 times. I don't think it's unreasonable. I don't think it's unreasonable for someone to cancel their cable bill for the life insurance. I don't think that's unreasonable. So when Mary makes you feel bad for her sitting with you on a Sunday at 8 in the morning, I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad for a second. You have to act like your job, because it is. You have to build the importance of your position. You're busy, you're important, you're in control. When you're busy, you're important, you're in control. So you got to act busy, right? If you have 10 members, you're like, oh, here's my schedule. I'm sitting down with 7 to 8 members today. I'm running around like a chicken with my head cut off. I know you guys are busy too, but more or less, like if I'm saying that, remember, actions speak louder than words. If I'm saying that, but I'm sitting there like this, wow, that's nice, Joe. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're letting them talk for an hour. You got to be like, you know, you got the folder, right? You got the folder and you're acting like you're getting started, but you're not, right? You're like this. You're like, yeah, Joe, I tell you what, we've been running around like a chicken with our head cut off. We've been in South Chicago. Heck, I don't know if you know anything about South Chicago, but that area, we handle the benefits for the police. And I think when we were there, they thought we were the police, right? Now, then we went to Des Plaines, Mount Prospect, Rosemont. We went out as far as Grays Lake, Fox Lake, Lake Villa, toward the Wisconsin border. And then now we're actually wrapping up your area in Beerstown. Now, how long have you guys been in Beerstown for? Really? Wow. Use active listening, right? You got to act busy, though, and make it seem like the report was an accident. Don't just sit there and like you got all day. You're not busy, important, and what? In control. The police officer doesn't come to your door, right? Your car door, and ask for permission for your license and registration. My man comes up to the door and he's like, license and registration. You're like, all right. All right. Doctor doesn't come in and start asking you for things. They're in and out, in and out, in and out. You know they're busy, right? Here's another thing we have to understand in rapport. Guys, people don't buy because they want to think about it. People don't buy because they can't afford it. That's a bunch of bullshit. Never, ever be sold on that. That's bullshit. I can't afford it. It's bullshit. I can't afford it. They're allocating their money in areas that they feel are more important. And there's nothing more important than the family. I guarantee you they're going to go out to eat. They're going to buy Starbucks. They're going to smoke their cigarettes. No offense. But they're going to do these things that they feel are more important. And it's not. It's not. The other thing too is I want to think about it. The only time someone says I want to think about it is because a salesperson got them to say they want to think about it. Salespeople stop sales. Clients, they don't stop sales. And the sooner I realized that, the better I got in this business. I would always blame the client. He was an asshole. He was this. He was that. No. Salespeople stop sales. It's something that we said during the pitch that created them to think about this. Now, these are some key things that are going to help, and it might be a little bit here and there because I want to give you bits of fire as I go and then work the presentation. But one of the things is product knowledge. These are ways to build trust and throughout the process, make it run smoothly. First is product knowledge. This is crucial. You have to believe in your products, but you got to know your products. Okay? You have to know the products in and out. A sure way to lose credibility and trust is not knowing our products. A sure way to lose credibility is to sound iffy. Saying words like probably. Eliminate that. Eliminate any iffy word that you have in your pitch. Yeah, that's probably term. Yeah, that sounds like it's a universal. Dude, you got to be like, it's 110% term. Or no, the group coverage, that's a great question. It's 110% term. Like anything you say is a precise number. You know, when I say the money that went unclaimed last year, I don't say over $1 billion went unclaimed last year. I got it down to the decimal. Guys, $1.71 billion of insurance. Dude, talk about them like really trusting you. Guys, how much do you think a funeral is nowadays? Wow, pretty close. Well, I'll tell you what, according to the US Census Bureau, dude, drop shit like that and they'll never question you. They'll never question you. Remember this too, guys. People believe what they see, not what they hear. In the beginning, make sure you show them your license. Make sure you show them your business card. Show them your insurance license. Whatever you got to show them to show that you're a valid person, you got to show them. Trust is huge, guys, especially when it comes to like hard cards, right? And the reason why people lose trust is because of unethical and unprofessional salespeople that they've sat with prior to us. Because all of you guys on this call, you guys are good. You guys are professional. You guys got what it takes, right? But you got to understand how the world goes round. You think you're the only salesperson that tried to sell them something? Dude, the older they are, the worse it is. The older they are, the worse it is. They literally have been, oh, hey, I'd like you to make a donation for the police department. Hey, I'd like you to buy this vacuum. Hey, I want you to change your electric bill. Hey, I'll tell you what, I got this, I got that. They've been tried to get sold so many times. We can't get offended if Joe's like, is this a scam? Dude, you know what I say? I say, I totally understand where you're coming from. To be honest with you, there's so many telemarketer scammers out there. I would probably think it was a scam as well, especially getting called at 8 o'clock at night. But no, Joe, I assure you, this is regarding that 3x5 yellow card. Do you remember that card? Calm as shit, right? So what this is going to create too is you're going to take accountability for where we're at in the sale. But you got to understand this. People are conditioned to think that all salespeople are there to rape and steal village, right? They're there to literally get one over on somebody. We have to understand how and what's going on in the world. That's why I wear an AIL polo. That's why I wear a badge. If you don't wear a badge in AIL polo, don't wonder why you're not making sales. That is the first, dude, the money that it takes to buy a polo and a badge does not and never will outweigh the amount of sales you're going to lose by not wearing a badge, by not having an AIL polo, right? That's why I wear a badge. Lack of trust will be the biggest reason why we lose a sale, 110%. You ever do a pitch and you realize that the person's not even listening to you? You're like in the middle of a pitch, the person's not even looking at you, right? A sure other way to gain trust is to look at them in their eyes, especially if you're in person, right? You got to look them in the eyes. Remember, the eyes are the window to a man or a woman's soul. So you better believe that I'm looking at them right in the eyes and telling them the deal, right? Look them in the eyes. One guy was a military dude, got him at the door, and he literally drilled me. But one thing, and I wasn't perfect, but one thing I did do was stare him right in the eyes as we were talking. Yeah, no, absolutely what they did. They set you up with I'm going to check with my president. Absolutely, I would agree. I would check with your president too. But in the meantime, we do have to set the appointment. So we have any time between 6 and 7 or 8 and 9. Which one works better for you and your wife? Dude, so he called up his president. I go to the sit. He lets me in. He was like totally different. And at the end, he didn't buy. But you know who did? His wife. So his wife bought. And he said, the only reason why I bought from you is because you looked me in the eye when you booked the appointment. He's like, I can tell you were being honest. Something so simple. And you got to understand, these young guys, dude, their word is everything. They're like, they're not dumb. They're old school, hard ass working people. They're going to know and they're going to sniff out the bullshit, right? And excuse my language, guys. Like I said, I'm really passionate about this stuff. Never think I'm just yelling. It's just that's just how I always am when I'm workshopping, okay? So don't think I'm screaming at you or anything. But the other reason too, and we need to understand, guys, is buyers have done this themselves. They have done their own embellishments, their own exaggerations, their own straight up lies or misinterpretations that they've created themselves. Why would somebody that has lied before not think that someone that's trying to sell them isn't trying to lie? Right? We can't take offense to that. But if the client themselves, have lied before, they're definitely going to think and believe that someone that's trying to sell them is not going to be honest. Dude, I don't even believe that they believe anything I'm telling them. Dude, I'm telling you, get this approach, because I swear to you, I don't even believe that they think that my name is Giovanni. I don't even think they believe that I work for the company. That's why I show them the American Income Polo. I do it in a way that I'm like, hey guys, listen, here's my license, here's this, because I don't think that they believe me. When you go at it at that approach, you're going to do things to prevent them from thinking certain ways. Always, everything you do, have things written out. I like to draw the term in whole life and the needs analysis, because remember, people believe what they see, not what they hear. I don't want to just tell them, hey, term is for the if. I got to draw that stuff out for them, right? One of the other things too, guys, is going on attitude before I skip to the next thing, before I forget this. A great attitude is worth more than a great product. A great attitude is worth more than a great product. When you combine a great attitude with a great company and a great product, you'll be unstoppable. You'll be unstoppable. It's easy, though, to be positive when things are going well. It's hard to be positive when things aren't going well. One of the other things I wrote down here was, it's easy for a client to say no to a product, but it's very hard for a client to say no to a great attitude. Your attitude goes a very long way. Your attitude goes super far. And you got to maintain a good attitude. Remember, you're going to have that emotional contagion as well. Okay? Here's 5 to 7 ways to build trust and continue to build trust. Because I promise you, the reason why they don't buy is trust. They either don't trust. Matt Jen, if you're going to be all over the place, bro, I'm going to have you turn off your video here real quick, man. 5 to 7 ways to build trust. Because trust will be the biggest reason why we stop and lose a sale. It's not that I want to think about it. It's not I can't afford it. Okay. One is this. Remember, you have to demonstrate industry knowledge like we talked about. If it's a POS and you don't have the right answers, you need to find out the right answers. Prep before you do a POS. Find out everything that they can possibly say. Get with your manager on anything that can happen with a POS. A sure way to lose trust with a POS, you tell yourself you're the manager. You're telling them you're the manager. If you don't have questions that you know, and when you're brand new, it's impossible to know everything. So say this. If you don't honestly know, say, all right, I'll tell you what, Joe, that could be one of 2 things, but just to make sure, because I don't want to tell you the wrong thing, let me call up my manager real quick just to make sure. That way you don't just make up stuff or not know what to say, right? Really show them how it works. Like the waiver of premium, don't just say, yeah, the waiver of premium will allow you to eliminate your premiums if you become disabled, and then just move on. Say, does that make sense how that works? So like if there was any disability or, you know, God forbid that were to happen, they'll actually waive your premiums and they don't have to be paid back. You got to explain it to them. Okay. Number 2 is be honest. It sounds so simple. It sounds obvious, but it's amazing to think of the misinterpretations that go on throughout a pitch. I'm not saying that we aren't being 100% honest with a customer. That's not what I'm saying. But it's more like something called lying by omission. If you're taking notes, lying by omission. This is when you're giving, like a customer asks you a question and you kind of answer the question, but you're kind of giving a false answer. Like if they say, hey, when is this term? When does it end? Well, Joe, it's going to end really soon. So that's why we have to fix this today. You're not answering their question. They're going to actually think you're lying because you're not answering the question. If you know that they have term, or you know that you're selling whole life or you're selling term, don't lie to them and say, it's like lying by omission. Like, yeah, this is going to cover you forever. When you know term's not going to cover them forever. They're going to sniff out the bullshit. And if you get caught toward the end, or the home office calls them and they ask a question, dude, you're going to shoot yourself in the foot, and you're going to lose trust from that client forever. Forever. Third thing is be direct. I'm not saying be rude, but you got to be direct with them. Agree with them, understand where they're coming from, but it's not what you sell, it's how you sell it. If they ask you a question, if they're like, hey, do I have to do this today? You know what I say? Instead of saying 3 closes, I say, absolutely. And then I get out of the screen. I'm direct. I'm like, do you have to, you're asking me a question? Absolutely. Then now I don't say it like, yeah, you do, Joe. Like, I'm like, absolutely. Right? I don't need to explain anything else. I just say, yeah, absolutely. Right? Be direct with them. Fourth thing, be even-handed. Okay, be even-handed. What that means, guys, and this is going to build a lot of trust with them. If they have a policy through another company, don't beat it up. Don't just be like, oh, even through our company, that's the worst thing you can do. If they had a term through our company and you start like, man, I don't know why Joe, would have signed you up for that. I don't know what he was thinking back then. Dude, you're literally shooting yourself in the foot. You have to be even-handed. They have a universal policy. They have policies through another company. Or they say, oh, I have State Farm. And you're like, didn't you hear on the news about State Farm? You're telling them everything you know about State Farm, all the bad. They're going to know that you're just trying to sell them your policy. So you got to be even-handed, right? So you say stuff like this. You say, oh, State Farm, yeah, great company, right? If they bring out their policies, right, which you should have them get their policies by the end, you say, wow, Joe, great job. Absolutely, good job. You got this about 20 years ago. Awesome job, right? You did get this. Find something good in it, and then tell them, but the only concern, though, is, Joe, is that nowadays, we just don't see term, especially in your age group, right? I'll say stuff like this. I'll say nothing wrong that you did, Joe. To be honest with you, you got that 20 years ago. That's the same exact policy I would have got 20 years ago. Good job. Nothing wrong you did. Nothing wrong that even the gentleman that put it in place did. But here's the thing, Joe, and this is a fire close I always use. Let's say they have a bunch of accidental, not a lot of whole life, right? I'll say this. I'll say, that's the same thing I would have got too, Joe, right? In your 20s, right? That's the same policy I would have got. You did a great job. But let me ask you this, Joe. If I were to die in my age group, do you think it would be from a heart attack, stroke, cancer, or an accident? Let them answer. An accident. Yeah. And make them feel good for answering. Yeah, Joe, no, you're exactly right. You're spot on. Okay? Now here's the thing though. As we get older, starts to be a little less accident, right, Joe? Now it's more what? Let them answer. Heart attack, stroke. Exactly, Joe. So like I said, man, there's nothing wrong you did. You did a great job. I can't emphasize that enough. You did awesome. But the biggest concern and the biggest problem that the union sees here is we just got to have the whole life, right? That's the only thing they're seeing, especially in your age group. Now they're like, oh, okay, that makes sense, as opposed to, hey, Joe, why would you get the accidental? I don't even know why I don't know why they would have put this in place. I was getting kicked out of places, as opposed to now they're like, you know what? They're thanking me, as opposed to getting kicked the hell out, right? Remember this, guys. They have to be sold on what they originally bought first before they even want to make a decision on buying something else. If you make them feel bad about the original decision, I promise you, they will not want to make another decision. If you make them feel bad about their last decision, they're going to be like, well, I made a mistake last time. I knew I shouldn't have freaking done it last time. I'm definitely not going to make that same mistake again, right? We think that we're helping, but we're actually hurting. The fifth thing is listen. It sounds so obvious, but listen, man. Listen to where they're coming from. People don't give a crap how much you know. We're talking about product knowledge, right? They don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Selling is not telling. Selling is asking the right questions. You got to ask the right questions. I bring up later in the close about their family. Like if they told me in the beginning that their mom, passed away from cancer, I don't call them out at the end and say, well, Joe, your mom died of cancer. They're not going to take that well, right? So you got to be like, hey, no, Joe, I get where you're coming from. I'm with you. But, just like what we talked about earlier, nothing that like people plan for. And I've had family members that have went through the same thing, but our family members, your family member, we didn't plan to have cancer. It's just something that happened, man. People don't plan to fail. A lot of times they just fail to plan. And today, what we need to do is plan so we don't end up, unfortunately, failing for the future. So I listened to what they said in the beginning. Don't just say the script. I've been noticing that as I'm training more and more and more. Don't just say the script. Make sure you tie in their personal life and listen to them during the report process. That way you can use it in the closing process. Right? Adding adding ammo to your gun, right? It's adding just some fire, and they're like, wow, he really was listening, right? You have to do that. You have to do that. Now, moving on. So once you build that trust, right, those are the 5 different ways to start building some trust. And remember this, guys, it's not that they don't trust you. It's 2 things. They either don't trust that you're who you say you are. It's 2 things. They either trust that you don't say, or that you aren't who you say you are, or they don't trust, more importantly, that you're doing what's in their best interest. That's that getting one over on them, like we were talking about. Okay. So you have to build that trust, right? You have to continue to break down that barrier, right? Get the rapport. We're getting a lot of sensitive information. We're getting their social. We're getting their bank account information, right? We're getting all this personal information, and sometimes we're doing it virtually. Guys, we gotta build some rapport. Now, when you build rapport, now we're going through the pitch here. When you build the rapport, guys, don't just you need to use active listening, right? Oh, you've been there don't just go question to question to question to question. Have a conversation about something. Joe, how long you been in the area for? 10 years, right? If they say 10 years, what do I say? I say, wow, 10 years, that's a long time. Now, how about you, Mary? How long you been in the area? Oh, you only been in the area for 5 years. You're not originally from here. Oh, okay. Where are you from? You're from New York. Oh, from New York. Holy moly. First thing that comes to my mind is like, how the heck did you guys meet? She's from New York, you're from here. Then they want to tell you the story about how they met. Oh, really? Okay. Who hit on who? I always ask that. Who hit on who? And they're always like, Joe always says Mary. Mary always says Joe. and then you know, it's a funny conversation. Now, when you're doing rapport, though, don't start it out by asking about family. They're going to get creeped out. Oh, how many brothers and sisters, especially if you're sitting there writing it down. How many brothers and sisters you have? 5? Okay. How many of those are boys? 3? Like, dude, it's so obvious that you're like sitting there writing the stuff down, right? Be like discreet about it. Just be like, oh, 3. Wow. Okay. How many grandkids? 7 grandkids. Holy moly. How do you keep track of all those grandkids, right? Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Do they come over often or during the whole pandemic? Yeah. Like just build some sort of rapport. But in the beginning, keep it light. Like, do you guys use Zoom? Oh, okay. Great. Great. Now, are you guys from the area? Like, talk about things that are non-threatening, that have, there's no way it's too personal. Build your way through like non-sensitive questions to later on, you're 10 minutes in, then you're talking about, now, what about the family? Is your family from the area? Oh, okay. How's your dad and mom? They around? Oh, okay. I know daycare is not cheap nowadays. I always try to throw in some personalized, you know, if they have kids, I always try and throw in some personalized jokes so that they know I'm a human being. I'm not just a robot saying the script. You know what I'm saying? So make sure you don't ask those sensitive information. Like I had one trainee, and it was just creepy. Like it was creeping me out. Like the first couple of questions were like, oh, do you guys have a big family? How many brothers do you have? 5? Okay. Where do they live? I was like, what are you asking where they're living? Like, that's not something you say right off the rip. You know what I'm saying? You got to build some sort of relationship before you start asking. And you know what the person said? What does that have to do with my benefits? And she's like, oh, okay, we'll get started. Never get started, right, if you haven't built that relationship with them, right? I'm a big pet. This is like a big, like, a pet peeve of mine. If you know you got to do rapport, don't skip it. Don't skip rapport. Always, always, always do rapport. Force it. If they're like, oh, can we get started? Yeah, I probably should get started. I have like 6 members after you, so I'll definitely get started. Now, I'm pulling up your paperwork here. Joe, how long you been in the union for? 3 years. Oh, okay. You plan on retiring with them? No, I'm talking about, yeah. So I'm acting like I'm pulling stuff up, but really what am I doing? Getting more rapport, okay? People always ask me, how long should rapport be? Dude, honestly, that's like a really good question, because I feel like if I don't get them to laugh at least twice and I don't know at least like a lot about them, right, then I'm not continuing. If I don't know where they work, how long they work there, what family they have in the area, how long they've been in the area, if I don't know how their health is, if they can qualify, like if I don't know these key things, I don't want to get started, right? So make sure you build maybe 15, 20 minutes of rapport, right? And then if you're anything like me, sometimes I'll build freaking 45 minutes of rapport, right? But those are the people, you don't want to build too much rapport and end up in what's called the friend zone, right? You build too much, now they're like, oh, I'll just come to that barbecue next week. We'll talk, you go to the options and they're like, oh man, next time you come visit us, you know, let's just do it then, right? There's no respect. It's easy to say no to your friend. If your friend's like, hey, let's go out tonight, and you don't feel like it, it's easy. Dude, hey man, not feeling it. But if Tommy calls you up and is like, hey dude, I really want you to come out tonight, you're probably going to come out because Tommy asked you to. You have a little bit of a friendship, but there's that respect. That's how it works. Moving forward, now going into the introduction. Remember, they buy you first. That's why you got to get control and rapport and build that trust and credibility. Show them the polo. They buy you first. Then they buy the company. Make sure your company introduction makes sense. Okay? Make sure that it's not too long and you're bragging, making it sound like you're selling the company too much. Act like you're just educating them. Guys, a couple of things they have us mention about the company. One is you do have to be affiliated through like a union or a group in order to be through our program, right? I say stuff like that to build up the exclusivity of the company, but I act like I'm educating them, right? If I tell them their rates are 25 to 30% cheaper, I might throw in like if they're a policy owner for a year, I might throw in that's why your rates have been so cheap for the last, year that you've been with our company, right? So I always throw that stuff in there to make the introduction very personalized within their situation. If they're Spanish, and I have a line that I say, when you call up our company, you're not going to call up, listen to the elevator music for an hour. And I used to say this because I used to work a lot of country areas. I would say, like, at the end of the line, even talk to someone that speaks English nowadays. If I'm sitting down with a Spanish family, I'm not going to say that, right? Some people will say a line like that and they're sitting down with a Spanish family. Like, that's going to turn them the wrong way. It's going to rub them the wrong way. So you might at the end say, you call up our company, you're not going to get a Siri or a robot at the end. The worst thing you'll get is maybe a Southern accent because we're in Waco, Texas, right? You might actually appreciate that warm Southern accent, right? The Southern hospitality, right? So, like, I would bring it in to the conversation and be smart about it. Have some common sense about it. You don't want to say those certain lines during that, okay? Once again, don't sound like you're selling them during the introduction. That's the biggest thing. I noticed a lot of people are just selling the company. That's why our company is the best company. We are the only company that carry these. You don't have to sell them, just educate them. Yeah, that's why the union set it up. The payout is actually 3 to 5 days because they saw. Don't be like, our company has the fastest payout, so you'll never have to worry. Like, dude, you're just trying to sell them too much. Make it sound like a conversation, okay? Going into the no cost. Just trying to give you little tips throughout. A big tip I would give you during the no cost, guys, that I would write down is bring value, right? If you're trying to get referrals on the no cost, don't just kind of like fly through it. You got to kind of butter them up with some no cost benefits. One guy told me the other day, a little while ago, actually, at this point, he told me, well, I'll tell you what, I was going to go with B, but I might go with A because I'm saving about $2,000 on the supplemental discount card you said, right? I said, yeah, absolutely. How crazy is that? The dude went from B to A because we buttered him up with the discount card. He's going to be saving on his out-of-pocket expenses. So we got to show them how to save money in certain areas. So at the end, they're going to be more willing to spend the money, right? So I don't just fly through the no cost, but once again, guys, I don't want to spend too much time because I'm not a, no cost delivery guy. You know what I mean? Like, we're there. Like, if they just get the no cost benefits, that's great. But we're there to bring value. If we truly bring value, that means that our product will pay out when they die. If they don't buy our product, what value do we actually bring, right? So make sure that during the no cost, you build enough value to the point where they see a lot of value. A good sign is if they're asking questions. Wow, wait, can I use that at this location? Oh, wow, can I do this? Can I do that? Right? Their curiosity brings them questions. So then you're able to get referrals off it. If you're kind of just flying through it, right, they're not going to give you any referrals. Referrals are key in this business. If you're not getting referrals, you're missing the boat. Okay? Moving forward, term and whole life. This is your chance. This is your opportunity to show them that you're the product knowledge expert, right? This is where you can show and build that credibility and trust we were just talking about, right? And here's the thing. If you say, now there's 48 different types of policies out there, they break down into term and whole life. Does that sound familiar? If they say something like this, oh, I used to do insurance, I know exactly what you're going to go over. Oh, okay, great. So I'll tell you what, I'll make sure we go over it still just to make sure we're on the same page. You'll probably be able to teach me some stuff, right? Now, term, and I do the same thing. Don't let them, or even ask them. I don't even like asking them. Like, if they were seen before, don't even ask them, what did this person go over? Because you know what we'll start doing? We'll start changing our pitch. Oh, they went over child safe? Then we start selling ourselves and thinking we don't have to go over the child safe. Dude, I don't care what they say. They haven't seen Raphael's pitch. I don't care what they say. They haven't seen Christina's pitch, right? So you have to present you. Nobody's going to pitch better than you guys, right? I don't care who it is. I don't care if they were seen by me. Someone once told me, oh, Gio, I got all your leads that you sold last year. I have the worst lead pack ever. I said, dude, what are you talking about? I was like, dude, just because I was there doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean anything. I could have caught somebody on a bad day and they only got their foot in the door, right? I might be compatible with somebody that you aren't, or you're compatible with somebody that you are and I wasn't, right? Dude, I don't care who saw them. Always do the same pitch, and that's how you have consistencies in your pitch. When you start changing everything up, you do a different. Oh, well, if it's the singer, I do it like this. If it's this, I do this. I do the same pitch every single time because it's going to create consistency, okay? Now, term and whole life, remember, you want to show big in term and whole life. I don't know if you guys want to start using this, but it really, I mean, I use it. I'm giving you my sauce here. But when I do term, I don't show $30. When I do term, I show $70. Why? Because I'm trying to condition their brain into thinking big. When I do whole life, I don't do $100 a month. I do $200 a month. The reason why is because people are conditioned to think that life insurance is cheap because they hear about it on the radio and on TV on how cheap it is, right? So you have to condition their brain to realizing that insurance isn't cheap, right? You have to present the options in a big way. So term and whole life, I always double up that whatever you're there, I double up everything. I double up everything that they're thinking. And then when I show them 200, right? And then I go to the options and option C is 130. They're like, oh, well, I thought I was going to pay 200. 130 is not bad. Now you're getting $130 checks as opposed to getting $20 checks. You can't protect a family with a $20 check, guys. It's just impossible, right? Moving forward, going to the needs analysis. One thing I definitely want you to jot down, guys, super important as we're wrapping up here soon. When it comes down to the needs analysis, that is so vital. The needs analysis is so important. But one thing we need to understand is so many people are fixated on selling the products and the services. I don't sell the products. I don't sell, hey, we got this freedom of choice. We're the only company that has this. Hey, we have whole, blah, blah, blah. You know what I do? That's why I go over term first, right? That's why before I go over the freedom of choice, I bring up people prepaying. You have to sell the problem for them to appreciate the solution. If Marquise came up to me one day, and I came up to him, and I said, hey, man, I got this air pump, and, I wanted to see if you wanted to buy it from me. He's going to be like, no, dude, what do I need an air pump for, right? Like, well, there's no need for me to get an air pump. But the next day, right, Marquise shows up. I go outside and deflate his tires. That night, he goes to his car, and he sees that he has no air in his tires. And I go up to him. I'm like, hey, bro, remember that air pump I was telling you about? Do you want to buy it? Dude, he's going to buy it because he's not leaving the parking lot unless he buys it off me, right? Why? Because there's a problem now. Don't be so fixated on selling the solution all the time. Sell the problem. Briggs Home Security. You ever see that commercial? What do they have? They have the commercials like this. They have a nice family, nice home, right? They have a guy jacked up, huge, with a huge ass like bat or freaking, I don't know, crowbar or something. Mask on, looking scary as hell, late at night. The kids are in bed, right? The family's in bed. The guy comes in, he's like, bam! And then what happens? The alarm goes off, right? Or no, the girl like tricks the alarm, no, grabs the family, the alarm goes off, and the guy goes, oh shit, and runs away. They created a problem, and they made it very visible too. Like they created a vision that didn't even happen yet to show you the solution. They didn't, imagine this. Imagine if they had the same scenario, they painted the right picture too. Imagine they had the same scenario. The kids and the family are there at home, and there's an old guy, right? Barely could even walk. He's got his cane, right? And he walks up to the door, right? He's trying to break in. He's like trying to hit the door. Like there's no problem. Like, dude, there would be no problem, and nobody would buy Briggs Home Security System. They make that shit so dramatic because they're trying to paint a vivid picture and create a problem. When I bring up the freedom of choice, I don't say, guys, they brought up the freedom of choice certificate. It's going to pay out in 3 to 5 days. You take a any funeral director or the only company, blah, blah, blah. You know what I do? I'm like, guys, the next thing is your freedom of choice certificate. It's your most important document. And the reason why they set this up, what they saw, and people don't do this anymore, but people used to prepay their funerals, right? And the problem that they saw is that people would prepay. 30, 40 years later, they would actually die. Their family would get together, go right back to that business where they spent all that money. And that business, 30 years later, sometimes wasn't in business. That was a huge problem, huge concern. The other problem that they saw is a funeral, what it was 20 years ago, it's not the same price as it is today, right? Or what it's going to be 20 years from now. So that's exactly why they set up the freedom of choice. Now they're excited. Dude, they never even knew that was a problem. You have to present or at least reveal the problem before presenting any solutions. Why do you think they appreciate whole life so much? You're sitting there beating up term, even if it's not the problem, you reveal the problems in term, and then what do we go to right after? But whole life is a lot different, right? Because we're selling the problem. That's what good salespeople do. They sell problems. They don't sell the solutions, right? They don't sell that stuff. They sell the problem. Then the last thing, guys, before I have to get off here, I feel like I'm always running out of time with you guys. I'm sorry. Okay? But when it comes down to the options, okay, guys, I show ABC. I don't know if everybody on the call still does that. I always do. ABC for me is the best. I call it the always be closing close. ABC stands for always be closing. Now, the reason why we do an ABC close is because we do what's called price conditioning, okay? We do price conditioning. Now, what that means is option A is what's called the bogus option. The reason why it's the bogus option, because let's say your option A is really high, it's $500 a month. They're going to look at that and be like, holy shit, that's a lot of money, right? Then you go to option B, which is like $300. And they're like, oh, well, that looks a lot better than option A. Option B is what's called the target option. That's actually the option you're going for. Option C is the bare minimum. I'm not talking about the bare minimum of what you need to get a bonus. That's not what I'm talking about. Or what you need to win a competition. It's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the bare minimum. Like you leave that house and you feel like it's detrimental whether they have at least, they gotta at least have C, or else I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight because they're not going to be covered. That's what option C is. Here's the other thing. I throw in this line, guys, and you guys should use this too. It's a fire line. Before I even show the options, I say this. I say, guys, you know, I have some options that they have me show you so that we can get you squared away today. And, you know, out of all the members that we've been sitting with, most people, out of like 150, probably about 140 would go with option B. Now, I'm not saying that to influence your decision. I'm just saying you don't have to go with option A. Option A is like the cure-all, the most amount of coverage, okay? Boom. I condition their brain into thinking they're picking something. I didn't even show them anything yet. But I tell them, yeah, guys, you don't have to go with option B. I'm not saying that to influence your decision, but I'm just saying you don't have to go with option A. Like they're like, what? I didn't even see the options yet. right? So you condition the brain into picking something. Here's what else. Let's just tie all the way back in the beginning. What did I say? Trust will be the biggest reason why you lose a sale. What does that do? You're like talking them out of option A. If you're you're trying to sell them the most, you're going to be like, A is what everybody has, right? I'm not even trying to sell A. A is more than what they need. If they pick A, great. But really, I'm focusing on option B. And people always go with like, it's not too hot, not too cold. I'll go right in the middle. They did a study on burgers, and most people went with the middle-sized burger. If you have a large burger, small burger, and you have a medium-sized, what do people go with? The medium-sized burger at the store. Always, 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 I always would say to always show option A, B, and C. Always show 3 options, okay? And then the last thing is, there's 2 recipes. One is always show options. I don't care if you don't think you're going to get the sale, show options. Every single time. I had someone tell me, I can't afford anything, GL. I'm telling you. I go through it. I'm telling you, I can't afford nothing. Go to the very end. Before I'm showing her the options, I'm like writing them up. She's like, if you're going to show me, I'm telling you, I just can't afford anything. I show her the options. You know what she said? Well, I can afford option C. I'm like, what the hell? People just say stuff because they're so scared you're going to show them something that they actually can't afford. It's called low sales resistance, right? So always show. That's the first recipe. The second is always, always, always show big. In order to get big, you got to show big. You can always go down, but you can never go up. You can't start at $30 and be like, oh, well, maybe we should go up to 60. They're going to be like, nah, I'll just do 30. But when you start big, guys, you can always drop down. Who are you to determine what their finances are and what they can afford? You don't know. Dude, I had someone that I definitely didn't think can afford big options, but they went with option B because they ended up telling me that they just inherited a lot of money. Hey, we'll go with B. You know, one thing I want to tell you, I did inherit some money recently, and I think that this would be best suited for me. It's very important, right? You don't know, dude. You don't know what the heck the deal is. You are not the person to decide what they can afford or undermine what they can't afford, right? So that's what I got today, guys. I appreciate you for listening. I know it's a lot of information, but I promise you, I wish I knew what you guys are knowing right now. I wish I knew this stuff when I first started, because everybody thinks I just came out and started popping off deals. Dude, I had to learn this stuff. I had to listen to Sell or Be Sold. I had to listen to the Closing Arsenal. I had to listen to the Closing Survival Guide. I had to listen to all that stuff and read all that stuff in order to get this knowledge, right? So now you guys are getting bits and pieces and fire that, you know, obviously you guys are blessed enough to be blessed with, and I'm blessed enough to be able to help you guys in the situation as well. So thank you, guys. Let's have a freaking fire day. Let's get pumped up. For anybody that told you couldn't do it, go ahead and prove them wrong and show them that you can do it. All right. Love you guys. Appreciate you guys. Thank you. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Thank you.
Is there